Hi everyone, welcome. This is the Self-Publishing Roundtable, and on Blab we do the roundup, the Roundtable Roundup, which is the news that's happened in the publishing industry over the past week, and we provide our own thoughts and opinions on this. Joining me today is Xavier Granville. Hi, Xavier.
Hi, Erica.
And Patrick Stemp from the To Be Read podcast.
Hello, how you guys doing?
Good, excellent. So are we ready to get into it? It looks like we've had a very interesting week in terms of news. First up, let's start with Kobo partnering with Listen Up to give authors a discount on book production. So this partnership offers authors a $100 per hour discount off of professional audiobook production services, and Listen Up distributes to a number of places, including Audible and iTunes and things like that. Now, as well as to Overdrive, which is awesome. But I have no idea really how much money it was to cost you in the end to use them as opposed to ACX. And also a little side note here, Kobo's trying to encourage people to use ISBN numbers from Bowker. And so they're providing an $100 price for a single one as opposed to the usual $125 price for an ISBN number. What do you guys have to say on this piece of interesting news, guys?
Well, on the ISBN front, I thought it was actually $250 to get one from Bowker, so that's quite a discount. But as Canadians, I think Xavier and I probably, we get them for free here. I've always thought it was ridiculous that I think it's $250 for one, couple thousand for a block of 10, and and then you can get I think once you get up to 1,000 in places like the US, they end up being $1 a piece. But who wants 1,000 ISBN? I mean, hopefully we all need that many, but it seems like a weird kind of not really deal. I guess it maybe is if you're in the US, but
well, with ISBN, it's free in New Zealand. I've got a block of 100. She was like, "Do you want 10?" And I went, "Dude, lady, I've already got 10 books written." She was like, "Oh, I'll give you 100." Okay, then. But yeah, totally free in New Zealand, which is again awesome. But yeah, I guess ISBN numbers are more to do with recording and reporting of self-published books, because at the moment they're only able to guess how many self-published books are actually sold, right? They have no idea. Whereas they can, the only one publishing any numbers that are probably accurate are the author earnings guys.
Well, and that's that shadow industry they talk about, that we hear about, right? Where they can't track those books without ISBN numbers. So there's all those numbers that they can't report. Do you use ISBN, Xavier?
No, I so far I haven't bothered with the one. I think the main concern with an ISBN would be it doesn't really affect ebooks as much as it does your print. So I went with the CreateSpace ISBN, but in the future, because they are free here in Canada as well, I probably will be looking into my own ISBNs. But like I said, if your market is predominantly either based off of Kindle or Kobo or any of the digital markets, the ISBN is not so much an issue, because you more than likely will have a different ISBN or EISBN per whatever platform that you're launched upon.
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure why authors in the States don't partner with authors in countries where these things are free, and just you want 100 ISBNs, I can get them for you. It doesn't cost me anything. The only thing is it's listed under my publisher name or whatever, but you wouldn't even have to put that publisher name in as the publisher of record. You could still put whatever you wanted, right? If you had your little company, if you registered as a publisher. I use ISBNs purely because, I know you don't need them, but if they're free and it gets you into certain sort of, government databases or library databases or whatever, it certainly doesn't hurt to use them if but I would never ever pay $250 for one, or even $1,000 for 1,000.
No, I think that's ridiculous, and it's one of the kind of main things that differentiates a lot of the countries as far as what the laws of both ISBNs and copyright are, and that'll just get you into a whole ridiculous legal snafu depending on where you're living.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm
So
not
what do
too
you
sure
guys?
how I feel about the audiobook thing.
Yeah.
So,
What do you think?
I think it's
mean, in Canada use ACX yet or not?
no, we're not allowed. We're not allowed. We're lesser beings here up north. I think it's interesting that both kind of Kobo's big, like, look what we've done, are essentially like affiliate codes. You know, like you're getting $100 off of this, and you're getting $200 or whatever off of that. But ultimately, what is Kobo doing? Just drawing people
to Kobo.
Yeah, I don't know.
It says the final. So it says in the article that the author will pay $350 per hour. So I guess with a $100 discount, that means that normally you pay $450. Have either of you guys done an audiobook? Like, is that?
No.
See, I can't say if that's a good deal or not.
No, we'd have to talk to someone who has, but I think even the article says that's still a lot of money.
Yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, when it comes down to it, I think it'll be all a matter of who you're dealing with as far as your voice actor, and whether they have representation on top of their own fees. So, like, this might be a person that you just pay X amount an hour, but this might be someone who's works within, like, ACTRA or something like that. This might be someone who does this professionally, and therefore you have to adhere to certain other things, and that therefore you'll probably see the price go up. But what's not really addressed in the pitch, I guess, from Kobo, as far as what these guys offer, it's really, you don't really know whether you're getting a top tier voice actor out of this, or it does seem like they're talking about good audio quality, but most of the time people will go for audiobooks that either have someone with more of a name behind them, or otherwise are known within their own profession as being the voiceover guy that does adventure romance books. Yeah.
And it does say that Listen Up isn't all that old either. It's still fairly new. I believe it started up sometime last year. And Mark from Kobo did say that he spent his own money to go through it as an author and use it. And he's he's singing their praises or whatever. But for all of us who have never experienced ACX, we don't really have anything to compare it to. I mean, can he even compare it to ACX? If I assume he's Canadian as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he lives close to Xavier, actually.
Oh, friends.
Best buds.
Okay,
oh, yeah.
Well, I guess we'll put that down
it's
as
the audio thing's just been constantly frustrating. That in Canada, that you just have to find workarounds, and hopefully something will come along that makes it easier for us.
Yeah, there is a workaround at the moment. Joe Nobody from the Keyboards offers up his company to act as kind of an intermediary. You provide ACX. You log in yourself with ACX, but you provide their bank account details and their address details, and so the money comes into his company, and then that company then passes on a check to you. So that is one way around it, and a lot of people have taken advantage of it. So it is something you can do if you really wanted to, but I think a lot of people probably should try it. You just have to make sure you have some time to do it, because it does sound like it's quite a bit of work, especially in the beginning. But I guess we really can't say anything more to Listen Up until we know someone who's used it, or it's become a bit more around the block or something. But it is good that they also provide to Overdrive. I mean, people in libraries have got to be pretty good readers. Okay, so let's move along to so according to a German court last week, sharing your Amazon purchases online is spamming. So you know the little share functionality which pops up after you've bought something that encourages you to promote the links of the products you've just bought, and it sends it to your email or social networks and everything like that. That's apparently unlawful. What are your thoughts, guys?
Well, it sounds like that's been brought by a third party, not like it's been brought to the table by someone in government or whatever. And I think it's ridiculous. Like, it's not spam if you're sending it to your friend, right? I mean, it would be no different than just firing up your email and typing in your friend's name and emailing them and saying, hey, I think you really like this book, right? It's just Amazon's automating it for you, and why not? That's awesome. Making things easier to share is a good thing. And it's not like I have shared through, say, Twitter or Facebook. I just bought this book or whatever. I've never tried the email functionality. I'm assuming it doesn't. I mean, I don't know. Does it send an email to every single person in your contact list all at once?
I don't know how that works. I mean, I don't even, share it on.
I wouldn't want that to happen.
That would be spam if you do send it to everyone at once. But yeah.
Yeah. So I would guess that it probably lets you pick and choose. I really don't know. I should give it a try sometime. Although I've been disconnecting most of my accounts from all of my other accounts. I've disconnected Amazon from Facebook and Twitter. Goodreads is disconnected. I think I did that out of a way of hopefully stopping Amazon from thinking that everybody who reviews one of my books is my best friend.
Yeah. X, what are your thoughts on Germany?
Well, it's interesting. It's more of a debate over there rather than over here, as far as what to think about that, because the internet over there is free, and it's classified as a human right. So I think at that point where you're getting potential spam emails, that is an infringement on your human right, essentially. That it becomes a much bigger question when the internet is seen as a human right. So I think that what you're saying, Patrick, about what's the difference between getting an email from Amazon through your friend recommending a book, or versus the difference of getting an email from your friend recommending a book, whatever, to Amazon. I think that question, the in between about the two, it gets a wider gap in between. When it comes to it being an issue of your rights, kind of a thing.
Well, and why is so they're clearly saying that email is a different thing than Facebook or Twitter, let's say. What's the difference between, why would email be treated any differently than, say, your Twitter account? Is it not spam to send a tweet to all your followers that says, under what they're saying, or to put a Facebook post that says, hey, everybody, I really love this book? Well, you've just spammed all of your followers, or the 10 that Facebook will let see your post.
Maybe they are classifying it more sacred, almost like the email is like closer to home, almost like it's like your actual address or something, where your Facebook wall is your Facebook wall, or your Twitter wall is whatever. But don't give away my email.
I've got a different view to you guys, because you've said over in Europe that the discussion with Amazon is completely different to what it is here. We know that in Europe, especially in France, I'm not too sure if Germany's the same, but especially in France, they're very pro-traditional books. They're very pro-bookstore. And over there, they've been making legislation and laws that are meant to hurt Amazon, so that the bookstores will benefit because they're losing their customers to Amazon, which is why I think in France especially, I think there's something silly like you can't have free delivery if it's an online sale, or you can't have a free book or something like that. So they charge 1 cent on Amazon. So I'm wondering if this is the same instance here, that they're really trying to cut down Amazon's way, or one of Amazon's visibility methods here.
Yeah, I hear that. Brings to mind like the term you hear a lot these days, that like unfair competition, which every time I hear that I just cringe, because I don't think there really is such a thing as unfair competition. If the competition's better and faster and cheaper than you are, then figure out a way to do it better, faster, cheaper than the other guy, or you'll be out. But I think maybe you're right. It's the traditional, not just publishers, but sort of bookstores and everything else, just doing everything they can to desperately to, last-ditch effort to save their bank accounts.
I want to move on to another news item that is, again, Amazon. It just seems like it fits in neatly to what we've just said. But it was a call to bust the Amazon monopoly. And this is basically the Authors Guild, the American Booksellers Association, the Association of Author Representatives, and Authors United held a recent event where Mark Coker from Smashwords spoke on a panel via Skype that was entitled Amazon and the Author. And he basically says, if Amazon's business practices continue unchecked, the result could be a nuclear winter for book publishing. He's not the only one who had a comment on that. There were other panels that went on to discuss Amazon's dirty tactics, including that of the 2014 dispute with Hachette over the ebook pricing. And then there's concern over business practices by Amazon that have been harmful to the future of books. And some people with legal backgrounds have even chipped in to say that they believe there is an argument to be made for antitrust legislation against Amazon. What the what? Your thoughts, gentlemen.
Those are all other organizations that make me cringe when I hear their names. I think if the traditional publishers let their authors write more than one book a year, they might have something better to do with their time than, attend these little meetings and, write their little letters and, spend all their time in court. I'm happy to let them do it because I don't think they're going to be successful. I don't know. We keep hearing about this stuff, and they keep trying.
Yeah,
I wonder what the actual authors think. Yeah, but
the Hachette thing too. I mean, they called the thing with Hachette a dispute, and I guess maybe it was, but really it was just a contract negotiation, right? Like, these things happen all the time, and one or both of those two groups decided to make it public. But at the end of the day, it was just a contract negotiation, and both sides got a little more or a little less than they were hoping for, and they still bring up this stuff that what was that 2 years ago now?
2014, it said.
Yeah, they're still talking about it. So
just have to negotiate something new next time. What?
Yeah, or
whiners.
I think they just a bunch of whiners. I don't know. Like, and I think especially with Coker, he has his own thing with Smashwords, and that's a whole other reason why he potentially could be upset with Amazon. It's conflicts of interest, left, right, and center. Do I think that there shouldn't be a monopoly on ebook vendors? Yeah. Definitely. I don't think we should have all of our eggs in one basket. I think that's totally wrong. But all of the other services need to kick it into higher gear.
Yeah, I don't understand how they think it's harmful to the future of books, which is what you hear. Like, I think what they're really saying is harmful to the future of their books.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Robert's just chipped in with this comment. He says, if somebody's winning, they call it antitrust.
Or unfair competition, or
yeah. And in the end, like, who watches the Watchmen type of a deal? Like, you could try to police Amazon, but then you're who's watching you, the police, or whatever, like, who are you to be making these calls? How can Coker and all these people outside of Amazon's practices make calls that could affect a company that they're not involved with whatsoever? Just
I think it comes down to they're crying antitrust because they know they can't be that competition to Amazon. So they're trying to hit down the person or the company that's doing really well so that they have more of a chance of maybe doing a bit better than Amazon. Because at the moment, no one can really compete. It's the second largest search engine on the internet, for fuck's sake. Kobo's search sucks ass. Smashwords, not really worth commenting on. I think the louder the Mark Coker seems to get, the more he's trying to mask some of the flaws in his own business. Because
I'm thinking of the competition in Kobo. Like, I love Kobo as a company, but I really would like to see them focus on, like you said, search. The website is terrible. The desktop software is horrible. Like, I'd like to see them focus on better pricing, for one. Anytime I've ever priced a book between Amazon and Kobo, Amazon's always $1 cheaper, or at least the same price. And they're focused on hardware and on audiobooks now and getting authors' ISBN numbers. I'd like to see them focus more on just getting the books out there at a good price and really competing, because they're worldwide. Apple and Kobo are the only two, I think, who have any chance of ever really competing.
Yeah,
in the book
fell
market.
off very early in the game.
And I mean, Google's out. What's it been? I think in a couple months it will have been a year since they shut down their store to new authors, without a word of that being fixed anytime soon. So
really, instead of working on improving, and that is an easy way to improve. You just put a bit more money in there, a bit more effort and time, and the developers needed. I think you're right. Every single one of them needs to work on their user interface for both the authors and the readers. And just the user interface would be, a huge step in the right direction. I think they all produce.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon isn't just cheaper books or more volume of books because, they've got so many people in their unlimited program, and that, like, they're also, I think, hands down, they have the simplest interface for one-click buying, for trying stuff out, sampling and all of that. It's not just about the books, it's about the way they've set up the marketplace. Is one of the reasons they've locked it down, I think.
Yeah, I think until they realize they're stupid and need to change and actually compete, I don't think we're going to see much changes out there for any of their competitors.
Yeah, Amazon's algorithms, also bots, the recommendations, all that stuff. It works by itself. It's geared to work whether or not there's someone actually plugging in this stuff. You don't have to have with Kobo. They almost seem to have like an organization of what is the top deals, and it seems like there's like I picture someone like leafing through a list. I'm like, oh, that's selling. That's not selling. That's selling. That's not. Okay, we'll put the selling ones in the top category, and then it doesn't seem like there's actually a real process behind it. It just more seems like it's lost to human nature, and it's like a bunch of guys in an office figuring shit out.
Yeah. So,
like Mikey's comment that Draft Digital makes Smashwords look like amateurs.
Yeah, and they started that because Smashwords sucked, so they wanted to make something better. Hello, other people. This is how it works.
Yep. Draft Digital has a great dash. Like they're very simple to work with versus the meat grinder at Smashwords.
Yeah, meat grinder. What, like you kind of? I think that's one thing that I don't really understand about Smashwords. You go with self-publishing to kind of avoid the meat grinder of having to refine stuff down. Of like you got to stick to market, but at the same time you're free to at least not have to deal with someone telling you this is a good story, that's not a good story, that's the audience's call. But then you go to Smashwords and you have to put it in a meat grinder.
It's books, not sausages, people.
Yes, I don't get
Yeah, I don't
why
know
does
if
it have to go in a
is that
grinder?
what the, but is the meat grinder their term? Which, if that's the case, that was just terrible. Whoever came up with that in the boardroom is the idiot. Or is
It
that
is.
just what everybody calls it? Do they actually call it the meat grinder on Smashwords? Because that was a big mistake.
I
That's
can't
yep.
recall. I
Thank
mean,
you, Robert. Robert confirmed it. I'm pretty sure it was, and Robert's confirmed it is their term.
oh my god. Yeah, I think they
Yeah,
need some
no,
better marketing and PR people there. I mean, seriously. Do they have any?
yeah. No, just chuck it in the meat grinder, wait for the sauce to come out, and then you got yourself a book.
Shall we move on to the last item, the plagiarism
Yeah.
one? So
Yeah.
some of you may be familiar with this handy little in-browser app called K-Reports, which basically is attached to the Amazon API and pulls out all of your book sales information and puts it into neat little graphs and other awesome handy things. Like it manipulates the data in the way you really want it to in your dashboard on KDP, but it actually doesn't. So the guy who created this, his name is Liam. He's the creator of Book Report. He's come out and he's realized that K-Reports, which is something that the Author Marketing Club has created as a tool, is using Book Report's source code. So, and he says he did not give them permission to do this, and it's his intellectual property, and he's sending a cease and desist letter via his lawyers to Author Marketing Club. And also to protect himself in the future, he's decided to obfuscate the source code, and he should be making those changes shortly if he hasn't already. But it assures everyone that there won't be any difference to the way they experience the user interface. So to summarize that, Author Marketing Club has created a tool called K-Reports, which, even from what people have said, it looks quite like Book Reports, and it also has a lot of Book Reports source code in there, and that Liam has sent via his lawyer a cease and desist letter to Author Marketing Club. What do you guys think about this interesting book, interesting plagiarism here?
I was trying to find, actually, just Google searching the website again, because I know the last time I looked at K-Reports, it was down for maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
After
it's back
that,
up now.
After that, is it back up? Because I couldn't even find it. I must be Googling the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So it's back up. That's good. I mean, it's one of those things that yours, mine, and the truth, we may never know what was really going on there unless somebody comes out and says, like, there's a lot of chatter going on, but we're kind of out of the loop, really. I haven't looked at the code.
No, I haven't either. But the main reason it wasn't obfuscated in the beginning is because he wanted people to be able to see that there were no hidden little tricks. He wasn't stealing anyone's data or anything like that. He wanted it to be completely transparent. And then I guess you're really opening yourself up to being plagiarized in such a way if you do something like that, even with good intentions.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's it's a sensitive issue, as like I said earlier. Copyright is one of those things that's going to be really going to get you into a lot of trouble, but or otherwise it's going to create a league of things that you have to take into consideration, but legally. And I think in this case, it's awfully convenient, that this other program has managed to, pop up with fairly identical source code as well as it being, the same kind of functions and services provided in the application itself. So competition is always going to be a main thing. But what I thought was funniest was like I read like a response from Jim Kukral saying that that their whatever it's called, it's K-Reports is in no way is meant to be competing with Book Reports. It's a totally different thing, and maybe you'll prefer Book Reports because it has more features, or maybe you'll use both. We're not trying to be in direct competition, but at the same time, if it has the original or at least copied source code, like how much more of a competition is it? You're literally looking at what people something that your service does not offer, sees someone else doing it, copies it, and then puts it into the service that you already have installed. Like it does seem awfully convenient.
Yeah.
So
And
whether
it
this was a
apparently.
yeah, well, I kind of just picture them hiring a software developer, and that guy was a rip-off artist or something. I don't really picture this coming from the high up on top, but I definitely can see some sort of shenanigans going on.
And ultimately, I think, well, a few things. I think, again, this is on the back end, it's kind of for them to figure out. And on the front end, it's unfortunate that we even need services like this because the reporting from the various vendors just sucks to begin with. Now, I don't know if K-Reports or any of these tools take that back-end data and put it in, like, I don't know, I know it gives you the pretty charts or whatever, but does it put the data into a format that you can download? I've just been going through kind of cobbling together. So I think at the end of the day, for any author, what's more important is for you to probably figure out how to track this stuff yourself. Mm-hmm. And not rely on a third-party tool that's just putting it in pretty graphs. You need to figure out how to download the data from all the different vendors that you're selling from, get it into your spreadsheets and start tracking it yourself. Figure out Excel if you don't already know it. And, I've just been going through this. I'm sure a lot of authors are going through this now with tax season and all over the place. Getting your sales and your money and all that stuff off the internet and onto your own computer and tracking it yourself. And it's tough. I can understand why people want these little tools because Amazon's reporting sucks, Kobo's reporting sucks, Draft Digital, you're downloading different formats and they've all got different fields and it's not actually data you can copy paste in anywhere. It's a lot of hard work.
Someone could make a lot of money to do that for you, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and you would spend 2 months building something like that, and then Amazon would make one little change, and it would break everything. Change to the reporting.
True. This is true. So we've got a comment from Robert again, as he likes to comment, and he's basically said that it may have taken the source code, K-Reports from book reports, but it's so slow, it's frustrating to use. He says he tried it once, and the AMC's selling point was that the data wasn't stored, but it's really slow and clumsy. And I think I now remember some of the conversation in that thread on K-Boards was that they'd actually taken it from the 5th edition of book reports source code, so it's not even the most recent up-to-date source code.
Yeah.
So that it could explain why it's, slow and clunky.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add before we finish, gentlemen?
I don't think so. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I was just going to say,
welcome.
I think with AMC, I find a lot of their services, it's like you said, Patrick, don't rely on third-party tools. You more than likely can do a lot of the things that are inherent within a lot of these services that people are offering, and likewise, you can source these things out. Buying a stock cover. You can contact a designer yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's an email. That's an email away. You don't need an app for that. You don't need an app for everything.
That's right. Well said. Well, thank you, Patrick, for joining us. We will actually see you on the Self-Publishing Roundtable. Not this week. I think it's next week. That's right. So if anyone's interested in finding more information about the Self-Publishing Roundtable or about any of the other blabs that we've done or podcasts, head to our website. It's selfpublishingroundtable.com. We interview authors and service providers and all sorts of people and have a really great time. So thank you, Xavier, for coming in.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
No worries. And thank you to our audience, especially Robert, who commented often. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. So we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Night, Internet.